Welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. Hit that sub, hit that bell, send that like, and let's get right to it. Cardinals in their heartbreaking Week 4 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Well, it was ugly for the most part. We dropped it 20-23 to Seattle at home. Game had it all, man. Slow start, furious comeback, and then a brutal special team mistake that ended it in the worst way possible. Jesus, Seattle jumped out early, man. 14-3 lead in the first half. Sam Darnold, he was on it. You got to hand it to him. Kenneth Walker was doing his thing. Jackson Smith was doing his thing. And we couldn't get anything going. Kyler Murray constantly under pressure. Marvin Harrison Jr. dropped that or bobbled that one ball that got picked, turned into an interception. Kyler, he actually stopped the route on one of the other interception. And it's just, both of those you could say were on Marvin, let's be honest. But we're going to talk about that here a little bit later. Late in the fourth quarter, though, felt like the magic was back, right? Murray led not one, but two touchdown drives in the final 6 minutes. So Harrison Jr. made up for it after his early mistake, redeemed himself, caught a clutch touchdown catch to tie it up over Weatherspoon, which was impressive. He mossed him a little bit. That was dope. Momentum was swinging, and the Cardinals looked like they were just about to steal the game. And then disaster. On the kickoff to tie in the game, Arizona ran straight into the NFL's new dynamic kickoff rules. The ball didn't reach the required zone between the 20-yard and the goal line, so instead of Seattle being backed up deep, Seattle got the ball at their own 40-yard line, which means they only needed a couple plays to get to field goal range, and that's exactly what they did. Sam Darnold calmly drove them, down the field, and then Jason Myers, after missing a 52-yarder earlier in the game, drilled the 52-yarder at the buzzer. Ball game, crushing 23-20 loss, and we fought at 2-2. Let's talk about the issues first. Special teams. That penalty was the killer, right? You fight all the way back. You tied the game. You're right there to go for it, and then hand Seattle the prime field position, and you can't do that. That can't happen. Second, Murray under siege all night. Sacked 6 times, threw 2 interceptions, was forced into hero ball late in the game just to keep him alive. The absence of James Conner loomed large in my mind. The run game just wasn't there to balance the offense at all. Trey Benson didn't do that great. And then the third the turnovers, right? The drops. Murray's 2 picks hurt. You could honestly, again, you could say it was not just Murray's fault, but also Marvin Harrison. But again, his early drop set a bad tone. Even though he redeemed himself late, those mistakes piled up. They pile up in games this close, right? I think Bruce Arians has said it before. I think AQ Shipley said it on the broadcast last night on the radio as I was driving home. That Bruce Arians used to say that you can lose or win a game in 5 plays, and he was damn sure correct on this one. Now, it wasn't all doom and gloom, right? Murray showed resilience late in those drives, leading those late drives to tie the game. Harrison Jr. did step up when it mattered the most in the fourth, and the defense, for all their bending and not breaking, held Seattle field goals on a couple of drives that would have blown the game open way earlier. So, where do we go from here? The Cardinals are 2-2. This was a chance to prove that they could close against the division rival, and they came up short. It's now 8 straight losses to Seattle, which is embarrassing as hell. Going forward, we got to shore up special teams immediately, find some answers at running back without Conner, and most importantly, protect Kyler Murray. If he's running for his life every single week, every single play, this offense isn't going to find any consistency and go anywhere. This was a game that we could have stolen. But instead, painful reminder, the Cardinals can rally, but they still don't know how to finish a damn game. Heartbreaking way to fall to 500. We'll see if this team can regroup next week, but for now, it's another divisional gut punch. Stick around. We got more to talk about here because Drew fucking Petzing. Now I don't want to cuss on this show at all, right? Because there's no beat button for me to hit, but Drew fucking Petzing is a problem. The problem, honestly. From the start, the play calling felt conservative, and it was downright it's like predictable, right? Petzing leaned on short throws, predictable runs, and screens. Now, some of it did work. We were moving the ball a little bit here, and then he kind of abandoned it. It was really weird. Seattle's defense read it from a mile away, to be honest. In the first half, Cardinals only had 3 points on the board. Kyler Murray was pressured, sacked 6 times, and instead of adjusting to get the ball out quicker or dial up some misdirection or something, the offense stayed in neutral. Drew Petzing was like, everything fine. You guys seen that meme, that dog in the fire? Like, it's fine. Like, it's not fine, dude. It wasn't until late in the fourth quarter that we saw some urgency. No huddle tempo, spreading the field, letting Kyler create. Wouldn't you know it? 2 touchdown drives in the final 6 freaking minutes. Drew. It raises the question, why wait until the end to let your best weapon cook? Here's where Petzing really got exposed. With James Conner out for the year, Cardinals had no real plan to replace that production. The run calls felt scattered and a couple carries here and there, but no real commitment to anything. Not the passing game, not the running game. No creativity whatsoever. Instead of leading into the outside zone or misdirection to take advantage of speed, they try to run straight into Seattle's front. If you've seen Seattle's front historically, they're tough. It didn't work. Clearly, the backs combined for scraps, leaving Kyler to shoulder the entire offense. Petzing had a chance to scheme around Connor's absence. Maybe get Trey Benson more touches in space. Maybe design a few jet sweeps with better jet sweeps with Dortch. We didn't see any of that, really. Here's what Petzing really got exposed in my mind, right? Well, no. Let's move on now because we've already talked about exposure and everything. So it's annoying. But let's talk about the end of the game here. Cardinals scored late, tied things up at 20. Petzing and Jonathan Gannon chose to kick the extra point rather than go for 2 in the win. Now again, there was plenty of time left on the clock, so it might not have mattered. That kickoff that Chad Ryland, botched, might have been there anyway, right? He might have lost anyway, but I want to see if you got the momentum. You got Kyler Murray. You're at home, division rival. You don't go for it. After everything you did, you busted it all the way back to 20 or to 1920, and instead of going for 2 and really going like, hey, we got him by the nuts, let's go. You kick a field, the extra point. Why? Look, man. What I always say about people, when you're a kid, right, you get in trouble, and people are like, oh, your parents will be like, oh, you're on thin ice, dude. If you're walking on thin ice, you might as well dance. You might as well have danced and gone for the 2 in my mind. So my takeaway here, Drew Petzing's play calling feels reactive instead of proactive. The Cardinals offense looks like it's waiting until desperation mode open up. And rather than dictating terms in the first quarter, they didn't. They just, they didn't adjust quickly to the defense gives them. And it puts Murray in constant survival mode. And at 2-2, look, Arizona has talent on defense, but if Petzing doesn't start dialing up more aggressive, creative, and adaptive calls, the Cardinals will stay stuck in neutral and in the middle of the pack for the whole season. This team has weapons to attack. It's on the OC to let them. And right now, Drew Petzing's coaching not to lose instead of coaching to win. Conservative when they needed aggression, predictable when they needed creativity, and ultimately part of the reason Arizona fell short against Seattle, if not the reason. Cardinals have to figure this out, man, because the season won't wait for a play caller to get more comfortable. Let's be real about that. And I'm sure Jonathan Gannon came out again in support of Petzing. If not, that I will definitely talk. I will research all that for y'all, and we'll definitely talk about that tomorrow. But it's just, it's an issue. We got to deal with it. We really do. All right, hot take time. You guessed it. The Cardinals need to fire offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. After the loss last night, it's clear the offense is just struggling. It's being held back by that guy calling plays in my mind. The vanilla offense, the short routes, the screenplay and everything, and and I get it, a lot of it might be on the protection, right? The O-line doesn't protect long enough to go for big plays and everything. But what happened in those last 6 minutes? You let Kyler Murray go. You let him cook. You got to let your best weapon do what your best weapon does, okay? And it seems like they're almost like they're forcing Kyler to play from the pocket, right? He 5-step back and he stands there. It's hard for a guy 5'10", I'm sure, to I'm 5'10", shit, like to look over linemen. You got to shift things around. You got to move around. The offensive line needs to be shored up. It's just so much frustration. Forget the hot take. Let's talk about the game. So it was a pain to get there, first of all, right? Because Thursday night games, they're always time for the afternoon. And in Phoenix, that's literally rush hour, right? So I took off 2 hours early from my home and got there barely in time for kickoff. Got there cool. We're sitting there. We got snacks. We got drinks. Cool. Good to go. Watching the game, it was rocking. The house was wild, super loud. Not as many Seattle fans as normal. Usually Seattle takes over the whole stadium. Not this time. Hell yeah, let's go, Cards fans. Keep filling up that stadium. But in the first quarter, we got the ball first, drive stalls, But we look like we were doing something. Like Kyler was getting the ball out quick. We were feeding it to Marvin big time, as much as we could. Although only one of the 2 targets got in there. But early, that's a lot in early, right? He was finding Marvin Harrison Jr., finding Trey McBride, Trey Benson with a run to the left side, and then we kind of just stall as soon as we get close to the red zone. It was weird, and it was really irritating, but whatever. We're like, hey, our defense is going to come out, punch him in the mouth, great. They scored 2 touchdowns on us. And going into halftime, the crowd was booing like crazy. I didn't blame anybody. I was like, no, boo. 100%. If your team is not performing, boo. Absolutely boo. Let them know, right? Halftime, Lil Jon comes out. If you're old like me, it takes you back to 2004. Lil Jon was there. And the funniest part about Lil Jon is that he's not a rapper. I don't know what gave you all that impression. He's a hype man and a DJ and a beat maker, a producer, not a rapper. So you can imagine this guy's lyrics were like, yeah, okay, yeah, the whole 15-minute halftime. It was hilarious. There's all stuff that I enjoyed when I was a kid, so who cares? When I was in high school. But yeah, anyway, continuing on, going to the third quarter, we're looking, we're feeling okay. They get up, freaking, 20 to whatever it was, and to 6 at that point. And then we make the furious comeback. Marvin Harrison Jr. suddenly finds his hands. He finds his confidence. Kyler finds him on an out route, and he caught it, and he looked so graceful. You could tell confidence showed up. Let's go. And then he mosses Witherspoon. It was, and the whole energy shifted right then. And the stadium was super loud again. We're yelling our lungs out for the defense and all that. Tie it up. Now, my thing was this. When we scored that touchdown, I'm like, all right, let's go. I was part of the group. Let's go for 2. Like, we're already here. We're already doing crazy stuff. Let's just go for it. Like, even if we lose, at least we went for the win. We didn't go for the overtime. We didn't play overtime. We played for the win, which is what you're supposed to do. That's why I like guys like Dan Campbell who don't care. He's like, nah, let's go. Grab your nuts and let's move, right? We go for 1. Okay, for the extra point, we get it. And then Chad kicks that ball in the field in the zone you're not supposed to kick it into, and I think we all knew it. Kenneth Walker, I think, ran the ball down. Charbonnet, just tough runner. Just down our throats. Finding Jackson Smith, finding Cooper Kupp one on a super clutch catch for Seattle, and then Myers comes in and kicks a 52-yard field goal, which he had missed earlier in the game. It was. You could feel the energy, like the huge letdown in the stadium. But there's a little bit of optimism in the way we came back. Because it makes you believe, like, okay, if game's on the line, Kyler can make things happen. It's just, you got to let him, right? If we're going to keep Kyler Murray as the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, we got to let him be Kyler Murray. You can't try to make it be somebody else. Like, the way they're doing the play calling, it almost makes it look like they want him to be Russell Wilson. And Kyler Murray is damn sure not Russell Wilson. Okay, not prime Russell Wilson anyway. Especially not the one that's now. That dude can't play. But yeah, it was heartbreaking. It was really sad. It was a really crappy ride home. But it is what it is, folks. We'll talk about it way more tomorrow. I'm gonna break everything down, each part of the game, what went right, what went wrong, what we need to work on, and let's see what we do next week. Hopefully, come back with a win, a little bit extra rest and everything. So that's going to do it for this episode of Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. Don't forget to hit that sub, hit that bell, hit that like, leave a comment. I'll see you tomorrow. All right? We're not bandwagon fans. We're for real. For life. Go Cardinals.